Hello and welcome to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. From mimicking sun in a steel container to estimating the age of ancient civilizations, technology is everywhere. Before we move on to our exciting stories of the day, let us take a look at the headlines first. India now part of the missile technology control regime. Indus Valley civilization, much older, proves evidence. Air may replace petrol in cars soon. In our segment In Focus today, we will discuss about the experiment and the science behind the International Thermonuclear Experiment Reactor. And now the news in detail. In its most recent undertaking, India has joined the Missile Technology Control Regime. India will henceforth be the 35th member of MTCR, which aims to prevent uncontrolled proliferation of missile technologies and unmanned vehicles. The membership is expected to benefit India in terms of trade in missile technology, including BrahMos, and in its joint ventures with countries like Russia.
India is now a part of the Missile Technology Control Regime, popular as MTCR. India officially joined MTCR on 27th June in a ceremony held at New Delhi in the presence of Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar and diplomats from the Netherlands, France and Luxembourg missions. This is India's first entry into any multilateral export control regime and has been supported by all the 34 existing members of MTCR. India's membership potential also benefited from its consent to join the Hague Code of Conduct, dealing with the ballistic missile non-proliferation arrangement earlier this month.
It will give us a kind of a leverage to export some of our supersonic missile systems to other countries, plus transfer of technologies from the MTCR countries to us and vice versa. Because if you remember, in late 90s we were denied the technology of the cryogenic engine by Russia simply because we were not in the MTCR regime.
MTCR is a multilateral export control regime and involves an informal and voluntary partnership of 35 countries. The venture aims at restricting the proliferation of missiles, complete rocket systems, unmanned air vehicles, and related technology for those systems capable of carrying a 500 kilogram payload for at least 300 kilometers. As well as systems intended for the delivery of weapons of mass destruction. The membership will enable India to more effectively trade in high-end missile technology and also enhance its joint ventures with Russia.
Well, it is time to rewrite history textbooks as Indus Valley civilization has been proved to be older than it was thought to be. While evidence suggests that the civilization may date back to 8,000 years, it also suggests that the great civilization might have been a victim of major climate change and weakened monsoons.
The Great Bath, planned cities, refined pottery, sophisticated sculptures and seals. The ancient Indus Valley civilization is known for many of its advanced technologies. One of the most ancient Bronze Age civilizations of the world, the Indus Valley civilization flourished in the basins of the Indus River and till date has been believed to be 5,500 years old. But now, rewriting history. A team of researchers from IIT Kharagpur and Archaeological Survey of India have discovered evidence that predates the Indus Valley civilization by at least 8,000 years old. In addition, the researchers have found evidence of a pre-Harappan civilization that existed for at least 1000 years before this. The team has discovered ancient pottery from a site called Bhirana in Haryana, and using a technique called optically stimulated luminescence, has estimated that the pottery shards, which may belong to the early mature Harappan time, dates back nearly 6000 years ago.
We basically picked up one pottery from the mature Harappan, another pottery from the early mature Harappan, and they gave us a date which is something like 4800 years and 6000 years. So remember that the Indus Valley civilization is generally considered starting from 5500 years, and here at the base of the early mature Harappan we are getting an age of 6000 years. So we thought that we have got some of the oldest potteries in this subcontinent, and below that layer also there is a considerable depth. Early Harappans are there and then the pre-Harappans are there. So we knew that there are older materials below these, and clubbing that with the Hakra level age of the 8000 years, we thought that this is a unique site where not only the people started inhabiting for a very, very long time, probably before the other places like in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro.
The evidence proves that the Indus Valley civilization was taking root well before the Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilizations. The team has also excavated animal remains like bones, teeth, horn cores of cow, goat, deer and antelope, which were put through carbon-14 analysis to decipher antiquity and the climate conditions in which the civilization flourished. And results suggest that the Indus Valley civilization spread over a vast expanse of India, stretching to the banks of the now lost Saraswati River or the Ghaggar-Hakra River, and disappeared only around 3000 years because of climate change and weakened monsoons.
Now the uniqueness of our work is that we found that although the monsoon declined after 7000 years, the civilization did not disappear, which was one of the contender. The climate was one of the contender of the what you call the disappearance of the Indus Valley civilization. What we feel now, and many archaeologists believe, that the Indus Valley civilization people were very innovative, they were very flexible and resolute, and they basically changed their subsistence strategies, changing their crop pattern, and they tried to cope with the climatic change over these few thousand years.
The discovery has been published in the prestigious journal Nature and is likely to force a global rethink on the timelines of ancient civilizations.
How many of us have wondered about how brilliant it would be if we could drive our cars on air instead of petrol? Well, this may soon be a possibility as a group of youngsters have come up with an air-driven car prototype. Let us see how it works.
As fuel supplies across the world are diminishing, the world is looking for greener and cleaner innovations. Taking a step in this direction is a group of students from Gujarat. This is a group of 4 engineering students of Rajkot city who have developed a prototype car which runs on air instead of petrol or diesel. The car, which in place of a usual fuel tank comes with an air tank, has proved to be ideal for small distances and to be used within small campuses. The car can cover 1 to 2 kilometers when filled with air 12 bar and up to 3 kilometers if filled 15 bar.
हमारा जो रिसर्च है उससे हमने ये प्रूव किया है कि 12 बार अगर हम भरेंगे तो वो 1.5 से 2 किलोमीटर तक चल सकती है, और अगर हम 15 बार तक जाते हैं तो 3 किलोमीटर तक गाड़ी चल सकती है। इसका बेसिकली उपयोग हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं, स्मॉल कैंपस है, कॉलेज है, इंडस्ट्री है, सब स्मॉल कैंपस में हम इसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं। ये पोल्यूशन फ्री है, इको फ्रेंडली है और हवा से चलती है, इसलिए ज़्यादा बेनिफिट होता है।
वैसे तो हमने बाइक का इंजन इसमें यूज़ किया है, इसमें 110 सीसी का इंजन यूज़ किया है। इसकी कैपेसिटी अब तो सिंगल पर्सन की है। इसकी स्पीड की बात की जाए तो इसको 20 किलोमीटर से चला सकते हैं। अगर इसमें हम बड़ा इंजन या कोई अगर मॉडिफिकेशन किए तो इसमें इसकी कैपेसिटी भी बढ़ सकती है और लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस में ये चल सकती है।
According to the students, who have created the prototype with used parts of old cars, including a 110cc bike engine, the car presently can travel at up to 20 kilometers per hour and will be capable of traveling more distances with other modifications.
And now it is time to take a very short break. We'll be back with more science news. Keep watching Science Monitor.
From caudies to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicator's daughter.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
Dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching Science Monitor. Let us now have a look at some important science and technology activities happening in India and abroad in our next segment, Science Express.
As farmers across the globe race to develop a vaccine for the dreaded Zika virus, looks like one is close. According to sources, Connecticut-based Protein Science Corporation has developed a vaccine candidate which is in the preclinical stages and ready for testing and review by the US Food and Drug Administration.
Well, here at Protein Sciences, we are basically using the technology that we developed for our flu block vaccine to make a Zika vaccine. And the big advantage of that is that we can really very rapidly develop that Zika vaccine. So we have already inserted the protective protein into a baculovirus vector and we have produced the protein. And so we hope to begin clinical studies as soon as the FDA allows us, but it looks like they want to see repeat toxicity study in animals, and those might take almost 3 months. So that would mean that by the time November comes, we should be in clinical studies.
According to experts, the vaccine is based on production of recombinant variations of the E protein from the Zika virus. Unlike other vaccine candidates, this technique do not use live attenuated strains of the virus. Protein Sciences, which began work on the vaccine in February, has partnered with Synergium Biotech on the vaccine and is receiving assistance from international foundations as well as the NIH. In a major step towards ensuring the quality of coal for power generation in the country, CSIR, Central Institute of Mining and Fuel Research, has signed an MOU with coal supplying companies and power utilities. Under this MOU, CSIR-CIMFR will share its knowledge base with the coal producers to ensure the quality of coal and improve the performance of power plants, thus catering to the satisfaction of consumers. The project is valued around Rs 250 crores. Turning the barren Brahmayoni hill of Gaya green is Sikandar, the green man of India who is single-handedly driving the mission since 1982. Sikandar, an electrician by profession, has been trying to restore the hills by planting trees after witnessing the deterioration of the hill over the years due to human actions.
जी पेड़ की कमी था जी, इस पहाड़ में तो सिर्फ कुछ पेड़ों की कमी थी, हरियाली चादर की कमी थी। तो इसको मैंने सोचा कि इसको और किस तरह से सौंदर्यीकरण किया जाए, जो कि हमारे देश विदेश के पर्यटक या और पर्यावरण के लिए जो अभी गया में जो तापमान इस तरह से बढ़ जाता है, उसको किस तरह से कम किया जाए। इसके लिए इसके मन में भावना मुझे आई और मैंने ये काम शुरू किया।
The trees planted by Sikandar include many fruit trees and medicinal plants and have been named after Indian kings and freedom fighters like Prithviraj Chauhan and Subhash Chandra Bose, etc.
As the population across the globe rises, so does the energy demand. In this scenario, nuclear energy has emerged as a major solution. Addressing the energy crisis, a global research team for the first time has embarked on the quest to derive energy by combining atoms. Now, this might mean mimicking the reactions that take place in the sun in a reactor. What is more exciting is that India will be part of this project, which has been named the International Thermonuclear Experiment Reactor. In our segment In Focus today, we will discuss about the experiment and the science behind it.
In the fast-evolving world, energy is the major issue. As the fossil fuel resources across the globe rapidly diminish, the world is fast moving into nuclear energy, or atomic energy as it is otherwise known. Commonly, we relate nuclear energy and nuclear programs to weapons and warfare. But in today's world, nuclear energy is the long-lasting and cleaner alternative available to solve the energy crisis. The nucleus of an atom is a source of enormous energy because of the presence of high-powered atomic bonds between particles, and researchers across the world have been trying to harness this energy. While atom bomb and nuclear reactors are the outcome of such experiments, the most recent venture in this area is the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. When a heavy or large atom like uranium splits into two smaller atoms, enormous energy is produced. This fundamental process, called as nuclear fission, forms the basis of nuclear energy generation all over the world. Nuclear fission does not normally occur in nature and results in many highly radioactive particles. But for a long time now, scientists have known another fundamental process called nuclear fusion, which also produces huge quantities of energy. Contrary to nuclear fusion involves joining of two lighter atoms to form a heavier atom. And unlike fission occurs naturally and is known to be the source of energy of stars such as the sun.
They are both nuclear reactions. In fission, which is what we use around the world till today, a big nucleus is broken into two parts. Special nuclear, plutonium, uranium. They break into two parts. In the process, they give out a lot of energy. Fusion is the opposite of that, where two small, very small nuclei, hydrogen, deuteron, deuterium, they fuse and become a slightly bigger one. Again, that process also gives out energy. Now, that is a process that has not been used in reactors so far. But that is what is in fact giving us all the light from the sun, all the light from all the stars. They all come from fusion and not so much from fission.
Nuclear fusion, which generally requires extreme temperatures and high density environment, and has not been attempted till now to produce energy on large scale. The ITER project involves the creation of a massive 23,000 tons nuclear reactor in Cadarache in France, in which hydrogen gas will be heated to over 150 million degrees. The heated gas will then be confined to a limited space and their atoms forced to fuse using giant magnets. The process will result in huge amounts of heat, which will then be directed to run turbines to generate electricity. Indian contribution towards the project is Rs 9,000 crores over the next decade, along with building 9 major packages required to accomplish the project. This includes the world's largest refrigerator or the cryostat.
India's role, the first thing it is doing, is to provide the cooling of the big magnets that will be needed to have this process go on. What happens is when two nuclei fuse and so on, they'll immediately come out patak like a bomb. But then the energy is gone. I mean, so what you want is a reactor which can keep on working. So you'd want to keep it closed and confined. Confining them requires huge magnets. And the huge magnets require cooling, otherwise they get too hot. And the cooling apparatus for that is what the Indians are providing. It's a very major task, because you're not cooling a little bottle of something in a lab, cooling a giant thing the size of this room.
The cryostat, likely to be completed in 2021, will work at -269 degrees Celsius and will be used to maintain the temperature of the special superconducting magnets and prevent the collapse of the reaction. While the fusion reactor is expected to produce 10 times more energy than what is used to initiate the reaction, estimated to produce the equivalent of 500 megawatt of power. It is also environmentally safe, as the byproducts are generally water or helium and not toxic radioactive wastes like the ones produced by present nuclear reaction, which works on fission principles.
Well, that is all for this episode of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions to us. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar C24 Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. Well, that is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific all the time. Thanks for watching.